nervous because I'm here now.
Hey guys, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the never-ending work of our fearless front office leader, Eric DaCosta, and the moves that he's making. And I'll let Glenn break the news. But before Glenn does, make sure to take a second and subscribe. And if by any reason at this point you're new to the show, welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. We're all about Ravens here and NFL headlines. So make sure you, once again, hit subscribe, hit the notification button. But Glenn, why don't you go ahead and break the news?
Yeah, so cornerback Jimmy Smith has signed a one-year contract extension with the Baltimore Ravens, so he's not going anywhere. The 2021 deal is reportedly worth $5 million. I do believe there's some incentives in there. But this would mean that Jimmy Smith's coming back for his 11th season in Baltimore. Man, I mean, that's cool. Anytime you got a what looks to be, at least moving towards being a Raven lifer, I'm excited about that. It's rare in this time with free agency and all that. I mean, even Ed Reed wasn't technically a Ravens lifer. So if this is the direction they're heading, I'm excited. What's your thoughts on the extension?
Yeah, I think it's great. And I know that people in our comment section are going to say, well, Jimmy misses half the year and Jimmy's not durable and he's not available and he's not reliable. While a lot of those things are true, I mean, he's currently out right now. Jimmy, to me, if you look at the open, I think what they did was they said, well, let's look what's going to be available next year for a number 3 corner.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that the chances of our slot corner being available are up in the air at this point, right? With Tavon Young. And so that increases Jimmy's value. And then on top of that, if you look at the market, even if Jimmy plays half the year, I consider him to be a upper echelon, extremely above average corner.
Oh, absolutely.
He's versatile. He's physical. He's smart. Just he has gifts that other people don't have, just as raw size and speed and aggressiveness. So I think it's a great value, even if he played half the season. Obviously, we want him to be healthier than that. But $5 million for a guy that could give you 3/4 of the season in the playoffs at that caliber, who's familiar with the team and a great locker room guy, I'm taking it all day.
Yeah, I'm extremely happy. I mean, I know that, like you said, that the injuries have hampered him as of lately. But let me just remind everyone: through 11 weeks of the season, Jimmy Smith was graded as the number 8 overall corner in the league by Pro Football Focus. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And now, I remember the injury when it happened. I mean, we've talked about on the show. He dove at a tight end to try and take him out and injured his ribs and shoulder. Now, I would like him to try and avoid those in the future. You know, I think maybe take on that blocker in a smarter way that keeps you on the field. I don't want to see that kamikaze move that he did where he just dove at the guy's legs and really hurt his ribs and shoulder kind of on the turf, but just diving at the guy's lower half. So I do want to see him play smarter and try and stay on the field as much as possible. If there's he had a groin injury earlier in the year, there's not much you can do about that. But for this past injury that's forced him to miss the last 2 games, he could have done something to avoid that. So I hope he continues to develop and play smarter as he gets older. But absolutely, I'm excited. I mean, this guy, not only is he a great corner, Jimmy, but the amount of boxes this guy can check. This guy this season has played safety. He can man cover on your best tight end, if he's a big physical guy. He can play on the outside. We already know that. I mean, he's fantastic. Man corner, and he can jam you at the line and make it darn near impossible to get off. This guy can just fill so many boxes. He's seen everything, and being around for 11 years, he's seen everything. You're not going to confuse him. I mean, it's just so many pluses. And let me just also add that the Ravens have been ahead of this coverage thing for a couple of years now. They've looked at analytics before a lot of teams. I think most people consider the Ravens to be the leader as far as using analytics first. And in the most comprehensive way. So I think they looked at corner and coverage as being the most important thing on defense, and they reflected that in how they spent their money. I mean, they give Marlon Humphrey this massive extension. They give Marcus Peters an extension. Now they're signing Jimmy Smith to an extension. They already paid Tavon a few years ago. They've shown that they value great corners because they found that cornerbacks are even more valuable than great pass rushers. So it's funny because I was watching the Monday night game. I think it was the Monday night game. It was the Philly game against Dallas. And Vilma was talking about that corner for Philly that just kept getting picked on. And he talked about having a bad back end of your defense is the worst thing you can have. You can't stop anyone if you can't cover someone for more than 2.5 seconds. You just can't do it. And we saw that on the game. I mean, they scored how many points straight after Philly jumped out to a lead, and this guy just couldn't cover anyone. So I think that I'm excited. I think cover corners are they're hard to find in this league, and
Yep.
having a guy like Jimmy is a big boost.
Yeah, and just to add to your comments there, I think the other thing that's important to realize is that when Jimmy is healthy, it allows for even more room for Marcus and Marlon to be true to themselves and who they are and what they're great at. And I would also be willing to bet that a lot of not that Marlon wasn't great and wouldn't be great without Jimmy, but I believe that Jimmy has rare physical gifts as far as his size and speed and length as a corner. And Marlon might not be quite as big, but Marlon is a very physically imposing corner of that same ilk. And I'm sure that Jimmy's done a lot to bring him along, to help him in that role, to help him jamming and be a true, man-to-man corner. Like you said, a lot of value there. I'm super excited for Jimmy Smith. And I'll tell you what, I think it just shows that our front office works tirelessly. They're always turning over every leaf, looking under every rock to figure out how we can be sustainable, how we can be consistently good. And sometimes, honestly, I think Ravens fans are a little spoiled by how good our front office is. So I'm just grateful on a day like this that we have Eric DaCosta, and even obviously Ozzie Newsome is still a big influencer in the front office, but and the rest of the crew to make these decisions. So yeah, I give it an A plus. I can't give it anything else but that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's just the injury thing. He's played 34 snaps since week 11. That's got to change, and hopefully, it will
Yeah.
next season. But look, last thing I'll say is, if your head coach was a former DB coach, and he decides this, that this extension is okay, then I'm okay with that because there's no doubt that Harbaugh has spent a lot of time in the back end of a defense and knows what he's looking for. So the fact that these three guys are now guaranteed to be on this, meaning Humphrey, Peters, and Smith are guaranteed to be here next year, that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. Was the extension of Jimmy Smith into next season a good one that you're in favor of? Leave us all your thoughts below, and we obviously will be sure to get back to you guys, but we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.